welcome back to the show. Anytime I get a chance to talk bowling on this program, I'm going to do it. I'll be a little self-indulgent. And if I do it, I want to bring in this guy to do it. Kyle Troup.
What's up, Jason? How's it going?
The pride of North Carolina hanging out with us on the show.
And Kentucky.
All right, Kentucky
working on
too.
the Kentucky crowd now.
All right. Fair enough. Well, I know you're a Panthers. I know you're. I was following you on social when the Carolina Panthers were making their run in the postseason, so I wanted to give you some love there. Taking part in the Pete Weber Missouri Classic going on just outside St. Louis, the PBA Tour over on the CW. The finals on Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. The CW, one of their new TV partners there. Our show airs on a lot of CW affiliates, particularly our weekend show. So I thought it was great to get you on and promote what the CW is doing with the PBA Tour and yourself as well. So I got to start with the big news of the week, and everybody's still talking about Brandon Bonta. Throws the perfect game in the finals, the title match against one of the best bowlers in the world in EJ Tackett. As somebody who's obviously as much a fan of the sport as you can be, as you are, in addition to bowling, what's going through your mind as you're watching this rookie go and do something like this?
So Jesper and I were actually kind of following it as we were already making our drive up here to Missouri. And we were pulling for him, obviously. He was, I guess I could say he was my pick at the beginning of the season for Rookie of the Year. But I'm sure a few people are saying that now. So, it is what it is with that. But honestly, we were screaming. Like, I think it's a dream come true, like a beautiful start to the CW network. For a rookie to step up and do that is pretty incredible. I mean, it might be the story of the year right off the bat in week one of the season. But he did look very good in the practice session on Saturday. They had like an hour practice because that was the first time bowling at the ITRC. And honestly, I feel like he put up a great show of how to break down a lane and how to play a lane. And I bet that comes from collegiate bowling because, he was one of the best collegiate bowlers, and I feel like I just kind of watched him break him down here, start here, move to here, and then 300 on the end is just absolutely sick. Like, cash in the extra 10 G's while you're at it.
I will tell you what my take on it was on Monday when we came on and did the show, and you might think this is a tad bit cynical, but I'm allowed to be. I said, man, it only goes downhill from here. I mean, come on. I mean, you cannot do better than beating EJ, and your first TV event. I mean, I just can't imagine from a mental standpoint, everything from here is going to feel like a disappointment for this kid.
I would say so. Maybe when he gets to his next title match and he misses, he spares the first frame. But that's got to give him a ton of confidence coming out here on tour. I mean, they weren't easy. We put out dual pattern. He showed us how to do that very well. And yes, it could be a disappointment moving forward for his next title match as far as score. But I believe that's going to just give him the comfortability week one on the tour. I'm excited to kind of follow along now and see how his season progresses. You
bowled at the time. It was, I think, the 33rd televised 300 in PBA history, 2022 Tour Finals against Chris Prather. Describe to someone that either bowls or even doesn't bowl what that 10th frame on TV feels like when you're going for a 300, as opposed to the zillions you bowl in league and practice and all of that.
So I guess mine was a little unique because it was during the qualifying. No, it wasn't during the qualifying. I think it was during a head-to-head match.
It was a head-to-head.
Actually, I regress on that. Yes, obviously the nerves kick in there. You feel a little bit of pressure. Bowling 300 on TV is, something that hasn't been done very often. But at the end of the day, anytime I have the front nine, I always want to look back and say, well, I've been confident to this point, so just stay confident, stick to the process, and, go out there and execute 105% of the shot. You never want to be scared or place it. I would much rather go high or through the face on the front nine than kind of baby it or not really want to give it a full effort because I was a little afraid of the moment, so to speak.
The CW, the new TV partner of the PBA Tour, this thing continues to morph, what the PBA Tour is. And I don't necessarily know that what it is now is even what it's going to look like in a year or two as things continue to evolve and change. Talk to me about, though, where it is at this moment, and as bowlers, how you guys feel in terms of comfort level with where things are going.
So, we've actually had 2 new changes, obviously CW being the new network and also having Peter Murray as the new CEO. I got to meet Peter and talk with him, had a few conversations, and I love his vision. He's also got a hell of a resume, as well as the guy that he brought in with him for like digital media and marketing. So I'm very excited about those, about Peter kind of running the ship and his vision for how he wants to grow bowling, take it worldwide and tell more storylines about the players when they're on the CW. Because one thing Peter said to me that I fell in love with, or, really it stuck with me, was the fans aren't going to fall in love with the bowling balls. They're going to fall in love with the bowlers. And that's a big focus of Peter's, and I think a big focus of the CW. So I think it's a great partnership between the 2 people. And also I was excited about coming on to the CW to begin with, because they're kind of new into the sports space. NASCAR, I believe they've got some basketball and bowling now as well.
Football
maybe
too.
A couple other sports. Football. And in 5 years from now, CW could be like one of the main channels you want to go watch sports. And I think it's a great thing that the PBA is kind of early to the party when it comes to the CW. I think we've got some great leadership with great vision. And I will agree, I believe the tour will look a little different next year, but I think difference as in better as well. So very excited for the future.
How about for you? Your off season was a little different. You got married. Congratulations. I mean, that is amazing. I was following. I sent you a congratulatory note on it. But how did that change your approach with everything that it gets involved with getting married? How did that perhaps change your off season in terms of being prepared the way you might normally be for the start of this season?
So, luckily I got married August 23rd, and then we went to the Lucky Larson for our honeymoon / tournament. But then after that, I actually almost felt more devoted to trying to prep myself and be ready for the season. Obviously it didn't show after the first week, but really, it calmed my mind down. I know I have a huge support system back home. I did spend a lot of time at home from October to December. We had our big fundraiser event and got a lot of time to practice and dive in on the lane. So for me, there is no added pressure or added stress after that. If anything, it maybe just become more of a homebody. And the more I'm at home, the more I'm going to practice and get ready.
Kyle Troup's hanging out with us. We're going to do one more segment with him. Lots more to talk about, including his dad going into the Hall of Fame. All of that as we continue on Sports Wrap. Another segment of bowling talk with this guy, Kyle Troup, PBA bowler, talking to us in between qualifying blocks at the Pete Weber Missouri Classic just outside St. Louis. Let me ask you, on Pete Weber, as this tournament's going on, is he just hanging around, or does he come in later in the week? Or is he just hanging out there?
He's here. He was at the bowling alley, through most of the practice session. Obviously, I guess he bowled the Pro-Am last night. I seen on social media, and I seen him in there probably by the 3rd game, and he was still, I believe he dipped out right before we finished. So he's definitely very honored to have this tournament named after him for now the 2nd year in a row. I always give him a handshake and a hug, and he's got his family here with him. So it's nice to see, Pete just hanging out in the back, maybe a little less intense Pete, which, you don't get to see too often. So it's nice to see that.
Speaking of greats, your dad goes into the Hall of Fame, just went in. Amazing honor for him. He's such a figure around the tour, especially with your success. It's given people an opportunity to kind of understand who he was and his impact and significance in the sport. Give me a sense of what it's like to see Guppy go into the Hall of Fame and what that has to feel like for you.
Obviously, it's a dream come true for him and myself, because I never thought he would get in. Honestly, I thought maybe, hopefully never, but once he passed away, maybe they would kind of give him the sympathy Hall of Fame entry, because at the time, you need 10 titles or 8 with 2 majors, and Guppy only has 8. So once they made the new category, and he got the call. I mean, that was a very special night, and I enjoyed it very much so. Just watching Guppy be the man of the hour, all throughout the ceremony, seeing a bunch of older friends that he hadn't seen in a long time. Everybody showing up, giving him love. He's already kind of the, star when he walks in the bowling alley or whatnot. But to see him kind of shining again, he doesn't really bowl anymore. To see him, and he killed his speech. Absolutely killed his speech. We had one printed for him. I was fairly nervous. He had a couple crowns, and I have no idea what he's going to say when he gets up there. And he didn't even use the script. And I feel like it was a perfect night. We had our whole family there. And to see Guppy be the man that night was pretty sweet, because I haven't really seen that excitement and joy from Guppy in quite some time.
Qualifying underway. I'm getting you on after your first of 3 6-game qualifying blocks, which if people don't understand, I have this debate with pro athletes, former football players, all these people that come on the show, and they all mock me when I talk about bowling and bowling in tournaments and how many games it is. From a physical standpoint, try to describe to somebody how it feels after going through 18 games in 24 hours, 36 hours by the time you're done with the 12 today and the 6 tomorrow, what your body feels like after that.
So for me, and I feel like for most bowlers, our bodies really don't hurt too much. I'm trying to think of a good comparison, because obviously it's muscle memory to me at this point. Yeah, my back's a little tight, my legs get a little tight, but at this point in my career, now talk to me next week when we bowl like 80 games at the US Open in a week. Yeah, everybody's going to be hurting. But I guess I could say, I think if you go do any sport you're not used to for 24 hours, go play a bunch of tennis for 4 or 5 hours. Let me know how your body feels afterwards. I would think it's a lot of the same, but really more than the physical, maybe exhaustion or soreness. I think it's the mental soreness that really hits more than anything. Just bowling against the best bowlers in the world, dealing with all the different variables, frame in, frame out, game in, game out. That's almost more of the battle while we're out here. So I think it's all about taking care of your body, because if you don't, then these 18 games are going to feel like, you did 4 workouts in one day.
I remember talking about this with NASCAR driver Bubba Wallace last year before he picked up his second win. And the drought that he had. And every week people ask the same question: when are you going to win again? It's 2 years since your last win. When does that, if at all, well, I'm saying on the PBA, I'm saying,
Ooh, yeah.
I'm not talking read. I'm just hold with me here. When does it start to get into your head as a bowler? You seem like a mentally strong guy. I've watched the way you bowl, the way you talk to yourself, all of that. But does the doubt ever start to creep in? When does it?
It's been there. I guess maybe I have a better picture of my mental game, because, I can answer that question. I believe I'll win again when I can find mental clarity. A lot of, I don't want to say a lot of doubt, but it seems to be quite easy for me right now to just shut it all off, like shut all emotions off. It's either like last week I was rolling it, I should have been rotating it. This week, vice versa. Luckily, I saved the block, but there's already a lot of just negative, down thoughts, and that's not the way I'm going to be able to win. Probably not going to be able to make a cut with that kind of mental clarity. So for me, and shout out to my wife, I started reading a book last night by Rob Rotella, and just trying
Rotella is a legend in that realm. A lot of golfers use him.
Yep, that was the name. The Golf Is Not a Perfect Game, I believe, and just trying to find mental clarity and calmness, I guess. Maybe enjoy what I'm doing a little bit more, because right now I'm very hard on myself, and it feels very much like a job, and just being a little too rough on myself right now. So we need to get the mental clarity cleared up, and that's when I'll win again.
Do you feel that when the margins are so close? We were just talking about it, I think, off the air. 50 pins it is such a difference. Is it easy sometimes to get bogged down in the micro as opposed to being able to step back and look at it from a macro standpoint?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I feel like that's kind of what I did throughout that block. And then, finished up and I feel like I made an adjustment the last 2 games that really just made me realize I think I know what I'm doing now, with a roll adjustment. But yeah, I mean, I looked at it 50 pins. I mean, to me, that doesn't feel like a whole lot. Now, you could ask me last week, 50 pins felt like a lot more. But, one of the goals was to leave with a smile on my face. I didn't quite do that, but, definitely closed the block out good, gave me some confidence, gave me comfortability moving forward to tonight's block, and just seeing kind of how the lanes are really getting. This is a week that I should succeed, but it's just going to come down to my mental composure and mental game. So I feel like that can be an easy answer for me to work on and improve on going into tonight's block. Whereas if it was a physical thing and, my timing's off and I need to change this, change that, that's not quite as an easy fix.
Do you have a favorite stop on the tour?
Portland, Maine, Bayside Bowl. We're coming there in April. You know it.
Yeah, I figured that might be it. I was disappointed that the tour's not in Vegas this year because Vegas is a bowling mecca. To me, it just surprises me that there were no stops this year in Las Vegas. I know there was a ton of it for the last several years, but it just kind of disappoints me because this is a great bowling market.
I'm not too upset because we drive the entire tour and we've already done that twice. And then just flying is tough. We can only bring 6 balls plus a suitcase. You got to transport some. So I'm not too upset about it. But, I mean, they should do some kind of like promo event in Vegas, maybe in the summertime, even though our bowling balls would melt. But, I guess you got to give and take.
I love it. Hopefully we do see you out here soon. Listen, best of luck in St. Louis. I'm always rooting for you. I text you whenever I get a chance. Be well out there. Good luck in the rest of the qualifying, and hopefully we'll get to catch up later in the season after you get another win.
Sounds good. I win, I'm coming on the show, so book me then.
I love it.